Many of you are so loaded down with directives from central office administration about discipline and other policies that you've lost your focus on student learning. And how many of you wish that you could make some teacher assignment changes based upon the observations that you have done just in this short time that school is open? If you know that the road is still bumpy, you're in the right place. And if you also know that in order to make any type of change in your building, you have to change the culture to make the performance change. As the principal of a former low-performing campus, I had seen other campuses just do fantastic things, but I just didn't realize just how they were doing it because it wasn't working for me. Following the rules wasn't working for me either, especially after I tried and I worked with other principals and other programs, but I just couldn't figure out why. I was reluctant to try new things because of fear, because of embarrassment or humiliation. When district benchmark scores were published, our scores were in the dumps. It was shameful. You sit there with your head down. Other people, they're just smiling and you're just sitting there, like you really don't belong with the team. And there's nothing worse than feeling dumb in front of your peers. But today, we are going to discuss some of the things that I learned to turn my school around. Today, we're going to be discussing 3 mindset shifts teachers must have to encourage learning through competition. Welcome to another episode of Principals on the Come Up, where we transform schools into hallelujah success stories. How do we get teachers to challenge students and see that their challenges are an opportunity for them? And how do we use competition to focus on progress instead of results? And can we make academic competition fun and rewarding for the effort and not just the outcome? Hi, my name is Barbara Polk, and I'm known as a turnaround principal. I was assigned to one of the lowest performing schools in the state of Texas and the lowest performing school in my district. I was also chosen by the Texas Education Agency to go into low performing schools to help those schools reach the status where they are out of low performing. I was also chosen by the Harvard Graduate School of Education, their Urban School Institute, to study ways and to do research on how we could get schools out of low performing and have them to stay out of low performing and to excel in academics. That was after the success of my last school. But it hasn't always been like this. I was assigned to a school that nobody wanted to go to. They just had to go there. The school had drugs. It was just known for drugs. It was known for students bringing weapons. It was known for fighting. It just had a terrible, terrible reputation. And I just didn't know what to do. I just did not know what to do. But through my experiences and through my humiliation, yes, I was humiliated because I wanted to be a part of a school that was great. I had just turned around an elementary campus, and then I was given this school, and all of the dynamics were different. The population was almost 1,200 kids, And we're talking about children that are in a Title I school. So we had discipline issues, we had attendance issues, and of course, we had issues with academics. But with a team, with a change of culture, and using the 7 pillars to make a school a high-performing school, we were able to turn that school around. But before we talk about what we can do to help change teachers' mindsets, I want you to hit the share button. If you're on YouTube, I want you to hit the subscribe button. Because you got some colleagues out there who are struggling. And as principals, we struggle in silence. Yes, we do. We struggle in silence. We don't want anybody to know how poorly we're doing, or we don't know what to do next. We're just following directions. We just have no idea of what to do. So today, let's look at 3 mindset shifts teachers must have to encourage learning through competition. So you say through competition, what does competition have to do with student performance? Well, think about it. All of our students are involved in some type of competition, and they love it. They have different levels on all their video games. They have fantasy football. There's competition in all of the sporting events, competition in tennis, competition in golf, competition in soccer. They all love competition. So let's change teachers' mindsets about how we can infuse learning in the classroom through competition. The first thing we have to do, number 1, is we have to get teachers to see challenges as opportunities. That's right. At the beginning of the school year, we had some teachers to look at their class roll and say, oh, they gave me the worst ones. They gave me the ones that always have low scores. They gave me the ones that's always a discipline problem. You know that. So the first thing we need to do is to make sure that we get teachers to see those challenges as opportunities. So what we have to do, principals, you have to create a belief system. We have to believe in people. The principal has to set the vision that everyone buys into. We must include everyone in that vision. Everyone must understand the vision. Is the vision something that it appears as though they can achieve? Probably so. And if it's a good vision, it definitely is more than what they think they can do. But isn't that the part of what a vision is? So once teachers believe that students can succeed, they're prepared for the challenges. The teachers start to look for ways to teach differently because they know this is a challenge. The way I've been teaching, I'm going to have to teach differently because these kids are just not getting it the way I taught the class last year. So the teacher sees an opportunity for her students to excel in the classroom. And the classroom becomes a community of believers. We're all in this together. We're all struggling, y'all. And it becomes that community of believers. It becomes a place of responsibility, and it also becomes a place of accountability. So as the principal, what we did was we recognized teachers who had those challenges. And when we saw progress, we recognized teachers for student progress. So how hard is that? How hard is that? How hard is that for you to recognize teachers who have student progress. And within that classroom, you have responsibility and you have accountability. The second thing, number 2, how do you use competition to focus on progress instead of results? Progress instead of results. Your teachers have to recognize that students may be failing, but they're progressing. So competition within the classroom can be competition with himself or herself. So how do they have competition with themselves? Well, we had teachers for, say, their exit tickets. They kept a running tally along with the students. They showed them how to do their graphs based upon the standards, using a graph at when you have an exit ticket. The purpose of that exit ticket was for you to, as the teacher, for the teacher to see if those students were actually able to learn that standard or one part of the standard. And after the exit ticket is graded, then that score is charted, and that student puts that chart away. And tomorrow or the next class period, when you are working on that same standard and you have an extension of the exit ticket from the class before, you have them to chart that. So they see, hey, Taria, how are you? Good to see you. So they have that chart where they are in competition with themselves. So yesterday, I made a 40%. Okay, I made 40%. Today, I made 50%. Am I passing? No, I'm not passing. Am I progressing? Yes, I am progressing. So I have the competition within myself as the student, and the teacher in the classroom is developing this belief system that you can get this. So what do you see happening? What do you see happening, principals? You see expectations being created. Students begin to believe in themselves and to not judge themselves or to judge others. I don't know if you recognize it, but this is a culture change. And when you see that culture change, you start to see academics change. Is it just that simple? Yeah, the words coming out of my mouth is simple. But doing the job, yeah, it's a big job. You betcha it's a big job. Is it worth it? Absolutely. So let's look at the third thing. How can we make academic competition fun and rewarding for the effort, not just the outcome? Yeah, we can make academic competition rewarding when we get students to believe in themselves. When we create the atmosphere, when it is a school atmosphere, that we, even though we are low performing, we are on our way up. And everybody has to believe that. Not just the students who are smart, but those students who are at the bottom. We are looking for progress. We're looking for ways for them to believe in themselves. And then what do? We celebrate the successes. You know, at my last school, we had something that was called the power of I. And the I stood for incomplete. So what do you mean incomplete? Well, you know, when the kids are in elementary school, there's always somebody who can help them. It's either a parent or a grandparent or an aunt or a sibling. They can help the student do the work, so that when they go back to school the next day, they can turn their work in and the teacher can check it off and they're all happy. But by the time they get to middle school, oh my goodness, it's like, oh, I can't do that work. I can't do that math. I can't do that algebra. I can't do that. So what does the kid turn in for homework? Well, I'll tell you what he turns in. He turns one or two things in. One, he turns in the paper where everybody in the class did the assignment together. So if it's a math class, we did number 1, number 2, and number 3, where the teacher was checking for understanding. And everybody understood how to do that. So now you're going to do numbers 3 or numbers 4 through 10 by yourself. Okay. Next class period. I didn't have that. I can't figure out. So I'll just turn this in. Or you'll have one who will turn in nothing. Now, let me tell you the key to turning in nothing. The key to turning in nothing is to make sure that that student has his or her name, the date, the class period, and whatever assignment it was that was due that day. And that's the evidence that teachers will have. 0, 0. But we're not giving zeros. We're giving I's. And we have some evidence. So who's going to help me to get a passing grade? What is an I about? Well, if I give you an I, that means that I'm also going to give you some extra help. Does that extra help have to be during the class period? Yeah, if you have time. The extra help can be a certain period of the day set aside. You know, teachers, principals, you set your schedules. You know how to manipulate. You know what time is available for students to learn and what time is not a good time. You know your schedule. Manipulate your schedule. Work that in. Teachers are autonomous within their classrooms. They know their standards. They know what they have to teach in this particular time period. And if there are opportunities for you to be able to help that student to get that work done at a certain time during the class period, then you can do that as well. The other thing is that we made sure that students worked in groups. And you know, we have that thing that says if they work in groups, they're going to cheat. If they work in groups, the one who doesn't know is going to be the one who's going to copy off of the other. But when you create the environment, when you create a system where people respect each other, where people are taught to believe in themselves, where nobody is made to feel less than the other. When you create that environment in your classroom, you don't have to worry about somebody copying off of somebody else's paper. What you will find is that you will have one student showing another student how to complete the steps in a process. That's what you will find. Because you are creating that kind of environment in your classroom. You are creating a team within that classroom. And the purpose of a team is to win. And if that's not competition, I don't know what is. Before the pandemic, the grading system came out and your school was graded a C and somebody else's school was graded a B, and down the road, somebody's school was graded an A. What is that? Is that competition or what? Do I want to be the one that's the C, the D, or the F? No, I want to be the A or the B, so I will be a hallelujah success story. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. So, with the power of I, we were able to help the students succeed in the things that they didn't understand. So, what did that do? That made the student feel, I believe I can get this. So, you're building that belief system. The other thing, and that's your academic performance. The other is that because the student feels good, he's coming to school. I mean, the best he can. He doesn't drive to school. He walks to school or rides his bicycle to school. And when he's at home, he makes that decision. Some of them for themselves, and some of them the parents make the decision. But that reduces your low attendance. And also discipline. When you know that you have relationships and people believe in you in the classroom, nobody's putting each other down. We're all in this class to help each other. What does that do? What does that do? The discipline goes down. Will it go down 100%? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But there are ways that and processes that you can put in place to help to make sure that the discipline is not one that is out of control, for sure. So what we have been talking about today is ways that you can change your teachers' mindsets about competition, the way it will help improve academics. You know, changing the culture is something that you hear everybody say, oh, you can just change the culture and everything will be just fine. Well, what is it? What does that look like? It's a belief system. It's the team. It's being creative. Those are the things that worked for us. Creative. The teachers became creative. The students strived for high expectations. You had teams that worked together, teams of students who worked together and teams of students who worked together. You had parents involved. All of that is what culture is about and how you can impact culture. So as I go into schools and I talk to principals and I talk to teachers, you can automatically tell when there is a culture of academic achievement and there is a culture of struggle, a culture that, you know, we're pedaling as fast as we can. We are following the lead of our principal, and our principal is new, and he's doing the best he can, or she's doing the best he can or she can. And we just don't have our culture down where we can make the academic performance improve. So if you are not a member of Principals on the Come Up community, what are you waiting for? Go to Principals on the Come Up and stay with us when we do our Facebook Lives. We'll give you lots of resources and tips and strategies. And you can also follow me on barbaraypolk.com. You can go to the website. You can contact me if you want to do a discovery call. This is what I do. This is what I do for you. This is what I do for schools. And this is how we get schools to transform from low performing into hallelujah success stories. We'll see you next time.